But in the meantime, let's walk back over to Paul Cook, who is keeping an eye on our 4th of July safety.
Yes, indeed. I mean, it's a big deal. It's a big deal coming up. And, you know, this year, louder. A lot of loud warnings out there to be safe on the 4th of July weekend. Much of that has to do with tornado debris. How about that? In St. Louis homes. On top of that, the emergency room visits spike on the 4th, of course. Dr. Joseph Finney. He was so great the last time. Were you here when Joe was here?
No.
The last time?
No, I don't think
Oh,
we met.
I missed it.
Yes,
Hi,
I'm sorry.
welcome.
This is my friend
Okay.
Michelle.
Nice to meet
Dr.
you.
Joseph
Nice to
Finney
meet you.
here to talk about all of that stuff. You are one of the only licensed emergency room guys for kids.
Well, not quite. I mean,
In the whole world.
Yeah, so there's a lot of us pediatric emergency medicine physicians
That's a better way
in
of
the
saying
St.
it.
Louis area. Yeah, so I don't want to take credit for all of them because there's amazing work they're all doing. But yes, we are seeing a lot, unfortunately, this time of year. Fortunately and unfortunately, you know, it's summertime. Everybody's out. We're out of school. It's getting hot. So we're seeing an uptick a little bit, you know, as trauma season, as we like to call it, summertime kind of picks up.
You call it trauma season? Oh
We
my
do, yeah.
gosh.
Yes,
I
that's
guess that makes sense. Right?
Yeah, well, you know, I mean, it's, you know, a lot of people are out, especially on motorized vehicles, ATVs, motorbikes, those kinds of things, which definitely cause a lot of accidents.
climbing trees,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that kind of deal
Climbing
too.
trees.
Yeah.
Well, the 4th can be really dangerous, though, especially for kiddos, right?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, you know, not only do we deal with the things that we already deal with throughout the year, which, you know, people out on their farms, people out on like I said, like ATVs, dirt bikes, those kinds of things. But you have the added addition of now people are going to the lake, people are out around bodies of water, so drowning is a big concern during this time of year. And we are across the state seeing an increase in drowning-related events, unfortunately. But that doesn't even take into account fireworks, which are a significant potential harm to children. So, you know, I think we all sort of remember having sparklers and things like that when we were growing up, and we don't realize how dangerous those can really be. You know, I mean, burning as hot as a blowtorch. And so, no, I don't think any of us would put a blowtorch in our toddlers' hands, but we don't quite think of it the same way with fireworks.
We did some unhinged stuff
Yes.
as kids, you know, in
Yes.
the 90s and the 2000s,
Little
maybe
nutty.
the 80s.
Yeah, 80s too, thanks. Yeah, in the 80s too. Throwing bottle rockets at each other, running around, chasing each other with Roman
Exactly.
candles, ridiculousness.
Yeah, well, you know, I mean, my personal preference is just go somewhere and watch a professional do the fireworks.
Yes.
But, you know, if you're going to have fireworks at home, then really they shouldn't be in the hands of the really little kids. They're just too young to understand that. And then, you know, bigger is not always better when it comes to fireworks. So staying away from the larger fireworks, the illegal fireworks, definitely not using those kinds of things, because they become mini explosives, right? And we see those types of injuries, unfortunately, related to that kind of thing.
I was going to ask, what are the most common injuries? Probably burns, right?
Yeah, we
But
do
what
see a
else?
lot of burns. Luckily, those have a tendency to be minor. But, you know, hand injuries can be very significant, can be life-altering, you know, those types of, especially when you're dealing with larger fireworks. You know, people misjudge how long they have, or, you know, they're just not thinking, you know, I'll shoot it off from my hand. Those kinds of things can be very, very dangerous. And so we keep our plastic surgery and our orthopedic teams busy over the 4th of July weekend. But then, you know, eye injuries definitely as well. For some reason, fireworks tend to find the eye. It's either burn related to the fire itself, or the actual projectile can cause eye injuries as well.
Oh my God.
It really seems crazy. And for a mom, she's wincing with every
I-
little thing.
Well,
Yes.
you had girls,
Yes.
right? And they're grown, you know, basically now. But I mean,
They were scared of just the sound. You know what I
really?
mean? But I was a pyro, ridiculousness kind of guy. You know, you talked about it a little bit last time, but I think we should underscore it. Barbecue pit.
Yes, absolutely. So I think, you know, that's a big one. We just don't think about how hot the outside of a barbecue pit can get, and the fact that you're dealing with propane, these things can blow up a little bit. You know, obviously the propane tanks themselves are very well secured, but, you know, you turn on the gas, you forget that it's on, you put the match in, you can have a big explosion. Kids being around that kind of stuff. You know, I hate to say it, I have 4 children of my own, and one of my kids actually touched the grill of the barbecue pit when they were really, really little. Even with me standing there, you know, they don't realize those kinds of things. They don't have that frontal cortex development to be like, oh, that's hot, I shouldn't touch it. So you just have to be more diligent around kids. And that's where, you know, I mean, I always talk about this is, you know, once you get alcohol involved into these sorts of activities, swimming, boating, motorized vehicles, fireworks, things just have a recipe, can become very, very dangerous very quickly. And so you really want to have, think responsibly over the holiday weekend, especially when it comes to your children.
Yeah. And that is the thing about alcohol. A lot of families are having, they get together, have a couple beer or what?
Yep.
Beers?
Yeah, a couple beer and a deer.
If you're in Canada, that works. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So what do you recommend? Like, how do you spend the 4th of July?
Yeah,
I'm just curious.
That's a great point. Well, this year I'm off, so I don't have to work in the emergency department, which is fantastic. But we're going to watch fireworks on TV or go to a park and watch fireworks there. My thought is you can do it safely with children, but you've really got to be thoughtful about it. So really little kids, that's a no-brainer. They shouldn't be holding fireworks at all. Older kids with a lot of supervision, they're not pointing them at anyone. Yeah. They're shooting them off in an open space, obviously not in a garage or an enclosed area or anything like that. And then you stay away from the things that are illegal. The bigger fireworks, those are no good for anybody. I promise they're not as fun as they look because they can they just have a potential for such serious and irreversible harm.
Yeah, you're running for your life when you light it anyway.
Yes,
you don't get
exactly.
to see it, at least that's me.
Watch a scary movie, stay away from the explosive fireworks.
We need to do a TikTok with you where it's like the 5 things that I would never do as an ER doctor, right?
That's
right. Like we always see that, and that's the algorithm.
Yeah, you're going to find out we live very boring lives. So.
Yeah, and if you do it as a parent, your kids watch. It's a little bit like some other bad, destructive behaviors. The kids want to do it.
Yes,
you know what I mean? You start a trend a little bit. I bet.
Yeah, I mean, my oldest is 7, my youngest is 3, and man, I mean, she'll copy the oldest down to the way she breathes. It's everything. Then they just don't think about it. So.
Yeah. Oh, they're crazy.
They are crazy.
I have a 6-year-old, so he's just a little.
I don't have a prefrontal cortex developed either, I feel.
Oh my gosh. Dr. Finney, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Really
Thank
appreciate your time. Will you come back soon?
Absolutely. Happy to be back.
Okay. You're on call for us. You might be off for the weekend, but you're going to be in here. Thank you very much. You're great.
Thank you.